Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and for the last few days I've been driving the 2025 Volvo EX30. Below me are two electric motors powering this all-electric vehicle. This is one of Volvo's new electric cars, and I'm so excited to be driving it here today. There are some things I love, some things I don't, and I'm filming here in Seattle, Washington, so we get a little bit of change of scenery from the Chicago suburbs we're used to. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that all-electric drivetrain. Well, that's why we're here. The EX30 is all electric, much like the EX90, not to be confused with the XC90. Per charge, I've been seeing a little over 200 miles, 215 real world miles on a full charge. That's about what you can come to expect. This isn't really a super long range vehicle. This isn't particularly a road trip vehicle, although I have been road tripping it. I have found the range estimates are pretty spot on, at least close enough to not really notice a mile or two change there here. So I've really liked that, and it is powerful. It is fast. It is faster than any compact Volvo SUV has ever been, and this is the dual motor, so it is all-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the EX30? I love it. It has a very electric car driving feel, to be expected, obviously, but it is very fast, it's agile, and I like the size of it. It's not too big, it's a pretty decent city car, and I've enjoyed my time with it. Parking hasn't been an issue, spacing hasn't been an issue, even in the downtown areas, so I've enjoyed that. Visibility is pretty good, about as good as you could expect from a compact SUV. Ride quality has also been decent, so another plus in the EX30's categories. But with that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I don't have anything. The actual gauge cluster is found in the screen, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But on the steering wheel, on the left, we do have our cruise control options. And off to the right, we have voice commands, volume, and skip track, as well as you'll find your shifter around the back of the steering wheel. Off to the left, we just have a climate vent. On the door, we just have a handle because everything is ran through the screen. Up at the top of the dash, we do have a Harman Kardon speaker. However, let's talk about the screen. Everything is ran through the screen. So you get your speed, gear, and basically gauge cluster up at the very top. And then down below, we have tons of different settings, themes, and buttons. All your climate controls are ran through the screen. You do have a 360 camera as well as a very clear backup camera, which was very helpful. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay, where the XC90 did not. Power-operated glove box, and we do have an ambiance mode, which you could select through a couple of different ambiances, which is very cool. However, there's this one that kind of makes you feel like you're at a Swedish nightclub. There's like hushed people talking. It's kind of weird. Take a listen. So there's that. There's a lot of fun goodies in here. I think it operates pretty well. It has not been laggy for me. However, I just don't love that I have to rely on this for absolutely everything. It also does have Google integrated, so if you don't want to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, or you don't have it, you could still use Google integrated, which again, works really well. Down below, we have that openable glove box. Then we have a wireless charger down below and an openable cubby for your USB-C inputs. And then moving up to the center console, you do have cup holders that come out of the center console. So we'll do a big friggin' bottle test, and I'm very happy to report that the EX30 passes with nearly flying colors. It looks like and is a perfect fit. Moving up here, then we have the window switches. So these are for the front two windows, and then you hit the rear button, and then that powers the rear two windows. And you also have lock and unlock. The seats are wool. These are Volvo's signature wool blend seats, which are very, very comfortable. However, you do sacrifice cooled seats for this option, but I love the look of them. I love the feeling of them. I've done hundreds of miles in other Volvos with wool seats. I've done hundreds of miles in this Volvo with wool seats, and I have to say that they are really, really comfortable, and I personally would spec these for mine. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, we're in the back of the 2025 Volvo EX30, and it's not great. This is my seating position, and it's not super helpful. I could be nice and move up, but this is not a very spacious back seat. If you do have a big family, this is not going to be the car for you. Can you take people back here? Yes. In relative comfort, yes. It still gets the wool seats in the back. The seats are still very comfortable. Headroom is good. Knee room can be better if the driver is nice. However, I get to enjoy this giant moon roof over my head. It has a nearly completely glass roof that is so nice. It is so special and makes the interior so light and airy, which is great. However, there is no sunshade. You could buy one. Volvo does not give it to you for free. You have to buy a sunshade that you attach. There is no power sunshade. There's no manual sunshade. So when you're driving in the sun, you're going to take all of that sun. And if you have little ones back here, especially in car seats, they might be exposed to the sun for quite a while. So that is something to think about. If you do get this, you might want to purchase the accessory sunshade. Let's hop into the back and take a look at the cargo space. All right, around the back of the EX30, we get our first glimpse at this color, but little button here in the center, and of course it is a power tailgate. Don't mind my shoes, but here is the rear cargo space. Nothing crazy. It's definitely nice for the segment. It's fine. And we can look under here. We do get some storage. This is the at-home charger and whatnot, so a decent amount of space, again, for this classification of SUV. One funny thing is that they actually give you measurements up on the tailgate of different sizes, and then it says, will it fit? And it has all of these different things that may or may not fit in the trunk of your EX30. I've never seen a label like this, let alone embossed into the plastic. So very, very cool to see that, and a fun little quirk around the back of the EX30. We do have a button here to power operate the tailgate right back down. Now, because it is an EV, we do have a frunk. We'll come in here, hit this twice, come around to the front, no latch, just lift it up, and you do get this little frunk area. Is it much? No, but it is something, and you do get this fun graphic on the bottom of an EX30, as well as a giant cartoon moose. I don't think that that's actual proportions, but very fun to see that nevertheless. Now we have to talk about the looks, and the first thing you're going to notice and want to talk about is the color. This is finished in moss yellow, which might be the worst named color because moss, as seen here, is not yellow at all. Might as well have called it fire engine yellow. I do think that EX30 is a very pretty car. I think Volvo did a fantastic job with the sizing and design of the vehicle. It looks modern, it looks fresh. Although it doesn't look overstated, it still has that Volvo subtlety that I really, really enjoy and look for in their products. This color is very bright, and I would not personally spec it on my EX30. It has grabbed so many people's attention. Everyone I drive past is just staring at how bright this car is, and honestly, I can't blame them. I would just go with a more subtle color. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think, having spent a few days here in Seattle with the EX30? Well, I think it drives really, really well. It is quick, it is fun, it drives fantastic, and looks really good too. I think overall, Volvo has done a really good job in those departments. Walking out to it puts a smile on my face. I'm proud of it when I park it. And like I said, that driving feel, I've spent a lot of time behind the wheel in just a few days. I really, really like that aspect. However, this interior is not good. I will say it looks visually good. I like the materials in here and I like the design of it. But the fact that everything is ran through the screen is such a downside. Simple things have become difficult in the EX30. If you want to put down the rear windows, it is now 2 steps instead of 1. If you want a sunshade for the glass roof that did get very hot in the sun, you have to buy extra sunshades at the dealer or buy them online and get out of the car, install them, and get back in. If I want to change my climate controls, I have to hit 2 or 3 buttons on the screen before I can make any adjustments. Also, if I'm adjusting my fan speed, I don't get to look at my navigation. This isn't really a problem in the XC90 because you can still keep an eye on it in the gauge cluster, but I don't have a gauge cluster anymore. So now, checking my speed is a dart of the eyes to the right instead of just downward. It's just little things like that that make this car slightly slightly frustrating to live with. And it's not like they're big issues, it's just a little small issues that were never issues or never needed to be issues. What's wrong with having 4 window switches? What's wrong with having a physical volume knob? I think in the XC90 it looks great and operates well having a physical volume knob. I don't get that here. What's wrong with having a gauge cluster? I personally feel like that's safer.
Another needlessly complicated thing is the key or lack of. You can see it just locked. So you don't actually get a physical key. You do have this fob, but that doesn't actually do anything. This is the key, and it's hard even to do one-handed. So Volvo wants you to use your phone, and you can use your phone to unlock it, start the car, and use it as the key. But if you don't have your phone or don't want to use it, you use this, and you come up here to the B pillar, and now it will unlock. There is only one sensor on the car, and it's right here. So if you have to get something out of the passenger side, you have to come over here, unlock it from inside, then go around to the other side. And again, nothing was wrong with normal keys. This is just an added thing that now you have to do.
And so this is really the Teslafication of Volvo. All the automakers now want the giant iPad in the middle because it looks futuristic, and Teslas sell really well. However, that's not the reason Teslas sell well. So they're copying the wrong thing. Old Volvos, I'm talking 70s and 80s Volvos that I've spent a lot of time with, the 240s, 244s, that sort of thing. They were so simple. They had a button for all the necessities and didn't have anything else. Everything was tactile, everything was safety oriented, and everything was real. This feels kind of like a video game. And again, small issues become big issues, but the small issues didn't need to exist in the first place. A sliding window shade for the roof wouldn't have made the interior look cheaper or less appealing. 4 window switches wouldn't have made the interior gaudy or uninhabitable. It's things like that. It wins on all of the big things. The range, the power, the driving feel, the interior materials. But it fails at the small things. And let this be a lesson that if you don't get the small things right, the big things don't matter. For as good as this car drives and as wonderful as it is, the thing that I'm going to remember is having to hit the rear button to put down the back windows. The thing that I'm going to remember is that it does not come with a sunshade from the factory. What I'm going to remember is the little things, and I wish it weren't that way. I think this is a solid product otherwise, but some of the usability issues are just a little bit too much for me. And I will say, price-wise, I do think that this is a pretty good value for the price. Comparing it to the UX350 that I drove earlier this year, I like it way better than that. It feels a little bit more spacious than that. It drives better than that, makes more power than that, feels the same luxury quality as that Lexus, and that was slightly more expensive than this. I would take this over that. But again, give me back my buttons, baby. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Volvo for letting me borrow the EX30 and letting me borrow it here in Seattle. I needed a car for my Washington trip, and they were so gracious, so helpful. I really appreciate them. Please go buy an XC90. That is one of my favorite vehicles on sale today, while this isn't. And huge thank you to Drive Shop for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of this vehicle to SeaTac. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.